It's like the great Jay-Z said, nobody wins when the family feuds. We're trying to push ourselves forward as a culture, and if we are fighting within ourselves, how are other people gonna see us, you know?
Hey. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Well,
So do you know what we're talking about?
I thought you knew what we were talking about.
Always a mystery, but very excited.
all right, well, let's go.
Today, we're going to be talking about colorism.
Oh,
Okay.
sounds like a good topic for us to talk about.
Yes, yes.
Wow. All right.
It's gonna be a tough topic.
Yeah. For me, colorism is deeply rooted in racism within the Latino community that has created sort of a hierarchy in our own culture.
The perception that people have based off you within an ethnicity, within a cultural identity.
What someone is, who someone is, how they are, their mannerisms, what they believe in based off of their physical appearance, not necessarily where they're from, how they were raised, who they actually are.
Really just comes down to like the baseline color of your skin.
It is essentially nowadays perpetuated through, social media, through entertainment. There's a lot of biases that hold people back for no apparent reason other than the color of their skin.
I believe there's a negative bias against people with darker skin because of what we're shown in the media as what is perfect, what is beautiful, what is right, what is the higher class.
Colonizer mentality.
We're all kind of being pit against the majority or the white color of it all.
Indigenous tribes were colonized by lighter-skinned individuals, and so this hierarchy is just established. We are the ones with the money and the power, and you are not.
I know quite a few Dominicans are very quick to identify as not Afro-Latina. There's a lot of, no, I'm not black though, like don't put me in that conversation.
My own family, we're from northern Mexico, and they are so proud to say that they're Spanish and French. But they never mention once that we're also indigenous through history that sticks with us.
Sometimes we wait a second and we're like, no, we're cousins. Like our last names are the same.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
99% of the time when I tell somebody if the conversation happens where I'm from, the answer that I always get is like, you don't look Brazilian. Is that my fault? What am I supposed to look like?
That's hard.
Let's check on my thing. I mean, it's hard.
It's hard. It can be hard to be
It can be.
automatically like categorized into this little box, and you're like, but I'm not that box. And I
Sure.
don't need to be that box.
Absolutely.
When I was a kid, we were in Mexico and we were always on the beach, just like running around, all my cousins on the beach, all very light skinned. They all would get really, really sunburnt, but I would get really suntanned. One day, my cousin asks my tia, why is Geneva so much darker than us? So she decided to tell the story about how God made us. One day, he's like making the humans and he needs to go do something, so he invites an angel and the angel's watching over the grill. He wasn't paying attention and he accidentally burned the batch. But God came back and was like, no, they're still good. Send them down, like it's all perfect. It was supposed to be like such a lighthearted, funny thing, but they started bullying me. The whole summer they were like, está quemada, está quemada. I stopped going to the beach and going to like out in the sun until I was like 22 years old.
I'll never forget going to a new school, being really excited because it was the first time I was going to school with more people who looked like me. And I had met a fellow Dominican who looked just like my cousin. And I was so excited. I was like, oh, you're Dominican, I'm Dominican, my family comes from blah, blah, blah. And she really stopped me. And she's like, you're not Dominican. Like, you're too dark to be Dominican. Like, you don't. It was almost like, don't play that 1% Dominican card with me, girl. And I was like, oh, okay. And for me, it had me constantly trying to figure out more ways to be Dominican, to show my Latinx side, because obviously my skin color was already a detraction and told people that I wasn't what they expected.
Even within the Hispanic community, I've been pinned to not be Dominican enough because I don't listen to all the music and I don't dress a certain way and I don't speak a certain way. There's like parts of my family that think I'm whitewashed and they're like, you're not Dominican. You're Hillary Banks. You're the white girl in the family. Like, and it was like growing up, it was really frustrating because it felt like I wasn't black enough to fit in black communities, and I wasn't Hispanic enough to fit in Hispanic communities. So it was like this weird in between of, well, then what am I and where do I fit? And I had to learn to just accept myself for what I am. And
were you raised with that idea of like, were you told you are a proud Black woman, you are a proud, like, or like?
Absolutely not. No.
So you had to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, I even had to learn that. And I know, as ignorant as that statement sounds, I said, I'm not Black, I'm Dominican. I mean, I said that when I was really young, and now that I'm older, I'm like, I remember saying that and feel so crazy for saying that. But it's also, it's kind of what I was taught and what I was shown growing up. Colorism divides us because we are such a community-based culture. Set up these divides to make someone feel less than just based on their physical attributes. It's kind of been this gradual process of now being embraced.
Growing up with novelas, and the novelas being like predominantly very light-skinned, beautiful Mexicanos, but they didn't look like me. Then in the US, still nobody, like superheroes and all these things, Barbies even, were not my skin color. That held me back by thinking that I couldn't do those things.
There's a lot of that holds a lot of people that have so much talent and so much to give back because we're predisposed to view things because of entertainment, that people are inferior just because of the way they look and the way they have this color. And it's not just in entertainment, I mean, it's all over.
When it comes down to it, Latinx and Black communities are 100% more susceptible to being abused by the system because of our minority status.
We perpetuate colorism sometimes in innocent ways by calling somebody morenita, India, gringa, güerita.
Colonialism is still real. That stigma is still there.
A lot of it goes down to the media and like what we're constantly being bombarded with.
Through the TV that we watch, through the music that we listen to, through the opinions that we take from our politicians.
I see basketball stars, all of our musicians, so many who are dating light-skinned or white women. And it really perpetuates this idea that, well, if that's what they're selling, now to all their consumers, all of their people going to their concerts and think, that's what I want.
In terms of Brazil, you either play soccer or you're like Giselle Bündchen, you're a model, Adriana Lima. There's nothing in between, really. We sexually put this up there and we idolize that.
I remember growing up and looking at models and being like, wow, they're so beautiful, and like not seeing anyone that looked anything like me, not one of them, and still finding them so beautiful and wanting to be as beautiful as them.
They try to make an argument, okay, but that's just what I like. Like, doesn't mean that any other women is less, it's just what I have a preference for. But I'm also like, y'all have a responsibility. It continues to perpetuate because everybody wants to emanate what these people are saying, and it's so ignorant.
It is innocent, like you don't know that you're doing it, but it is still so racist. It's so bad. Los blanquitos.
Yeah. People of almost my complexion, it's unfortunate, and it's not something that I'm comfortable acknowledging a lot.
I feel like we're constantly still in survival mode of how do we get liked by the masses? Well, it's like the pick me culture. It's like, pick me, please. Like, I am closer to what you accept or what you're comfortable with. And it sucks because none of us benefit from colorism when it comes to the bigger perception.
It's like the great Jay-Z said, nobody wins when the family feuds. We're trying to push ourselves forward as a culture, and if we are fighting within ourselves, how are other people gonna see us, you know?
There's just like subtle things. There's no big answer to this question about ending colorism. It doesn't just happen like that.
It's a whole lifetime and journey that we have to take. Every single day, try to be anti-racist.
You can't keep desensitizing the issue by not talking about it, by saying it doesn't exist. People need to become a lot more sensitive to when other people are saying, I feel some type of way about this. And sometimes it comes out loud, sometimes it comes out mad. And instead of listening to how it's coming out, listening to what is coming out, is maybe that compassion, that level of empathy is what I think can help move this conversation.
Break these barriers to like allow for everybody to come in and the best person, the most qualified, to get the opportunity to be seen, to be heard.
Videos like this where people are actually having the conversation. It is a little uncomfortable to talk about this because I've always felt very privileged in this regard. I think having the conversation is really, it's gonna help push it forward and break all these stigmas.
A lot of it needs to be younger and younger conversations. I mean, The unfortunate side is the older you get, the more ingrained these kind of behaviors are. We're seeing some change with older generations, but I think their focus should be on younger generations really kind of cleaning it out.
Do you think there's a racism problem in the Latino community?
Definitely. And I think that has to do with like the history, you know, like a lot of us have indigenous and African blood. That's just like the hierarchy that has been like since colonialism, you know. I've been stereotyped by the police before. I've been like assaulted by the sheriff's department, the LA County Sheriff's Department before. But you get used to it, I guess, you know. I learned to not let it bother me too much because I feel like if I were to be upset every single time like that happened to me, I just wouldn't be a happy person, you know? Hatred, it stems from ignorance. Like somebody doesn't know something about somebody else and, you know, they may not understand them fully. So that's why they just like, maybe not won't like them. I just do my best to stay positive and always show people love and understanding.
I think colorism affects all sides of the spectrum, and I really learned that there is a longingness to really kind of find a way back to each other. We need to make people more comfortable to have the conversations.
I learned that everybody can experience colorism because of the preconceived notions that we have about what people look like, and that a lot of that stems from just representation in media and entertainment.
This issue with colorism, a lot of it can be inherent. These remarks that we say, they make an impact on the younger generation. And as they grow up, it becomes part of them as well. The cycle that keeps going and going and going, and we need to break that.
I've learned to not only embrace myself fully, but also embrace my Latina sisters and love on them and remind them that they are perfect the way they are.
Hey guys, it's Mike, the director of this episode of Latinos Talk, and what I learned about colorism is that it benefits no one. You know, we are stronger together, todos unidos. We need to come together as a community and stop perpetuating it amongst our family and our friends. If you think you're part of a group that colorism benefits, I promise you it doesn't. It only holds the whole community back. So we need to join together, have the discussion out in the open. We need to not shy away from these hard topics. And if you want to continue the discussion in the comments, please do so. We want to hear about your thoughts, your opinions, your experiences with colorism. Go ahead and keep the conversation going right here in the comments. Thank you, and see you next time on Latinos Talk.